So how's that? A lot of great noises in there. Love it. Really cool. Yeah, and as a bit of a contrast, I've got a piece of music I actually found this week that I quite like. It's by an artist called Sophie. It's available on various music platforms. And this is I just wanted to play this one to sort of, I don't know, as a to sort of show how far electronic music's come, but then also that essentially it's made up of the same elements, melody and the beat and so on, and weird electronic noises. So yeah, I quite like this track. I think it's something else. It's got some interesting elements, and here it is. This is Bip by Sophie. How's that? Pretty cool, eh? Yeah, so yeah, the thing about Wendy Carlos is that there's a biography recently been released. about her, gathered mainly from interviews and things like that, because she's been notoriously press shy, thanks to being sort of vilified and persecuted by the media earlier on and things. She was a man, and then trans and transitioned to being a female, and then, despite being sort of pretty much a musical genius by in a lot of people's estimations, was basically just constantly questioned about that side of things rather than the amazing music that she'd made. And it's sort of just as an illustration, really, of how we in our society get quite fixated on things that are on the sidelines, really, especially in relation to people's talent and things that they offer the world, like considering, you know, the amazing music that Wendy wrote and put out, that you can understand that she sort of just cut the press off in the outside world in the end, because she got sick of being questioned about her gender and gender identity and so on. And yeah, it's a real shame. I mean, it'd be great to hear from, you know, the horse's mouth more about the music and the motivations for creating it, and who her influences were, and what she was sort of attempting to channel through creating such amazing music. And a lot of her music, I don't think even much of her music is even available. I think only the original releases that came out in, say, the 60s and 70s, the original prints are out there, so they're really hard to get, apparently, collector's items. And the funny thing, or the one funny thing always about collector's items, is that you can always imagine that there'd be like this just amazing stack of albums somewhere in someone's drawer, and you just like, yeah, hopefully someone stumbles across it one day. But then you think of the times that, you know, someone's cleaning out a house, you know, find an old stack of albums and like, oh, these are a load of crap, chuck them in the fire, you know, burned. There they go. And oh man, I reckon that's happened so many times. Books as well, I bet. But yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, there's a bit of information online about Wendy Carlos, if you care to look it up and find out a bit more about her. Then there is a book that's just come out, written by Amanda Sewell, who has sort of compiled interviews and things like that, and tried to write a book, even though Wendy Carlos is not a fan of the book, as it turns out, and has declared it to be a work of fiction. But I mean, I don't know if it's a work of fiction when it's taken from interviews and so on. So I mean, just Wendy Carlos is just angry at the world, and you know, you can understand that. I understand that. I mean, why wouldn't you be angry at the world if the world treated you like, you know, some sort of pariah, just because of like basically something that you didn't see as that important, or, well, you know, when it was just an aside to the music that she created. So yeah. So electronica, I did find a tune by a band that Fat Freddy's Drop. They're sort of a well-known New Zealand band. They sort of have done reasonably well internationally. I remember years and years ago, in about 1998, I think it was, I helped them put their instruments back into the back of a station wagon outside what was that place called? O'Flaherty's in Napier, after a gig. And they seemed like a decent bunch, and they did all right over the years. There was one situation I remember where I saw them live at a winery, and yeah, they were all right, but they seemed to be, I think the fame had gone to their heads a bit, and they sort of were going through the motions a bit. And but yeah, I suppose they still put on a show, and a lot of the crowd were unaware of of them maybe going through the motions a bit. But yeah, I mean, in a lot of senses, though I do like the way that they've been innovators and sort of tried to keep things interesting over the years, and they're definitely a bunch of talented musicians, Fat Freddy's Drop, and there's a track that I'm going to play that sort of reminds me of electronica in some ways, and but it's a band playing it, but I quite like it. I think it's a really cool little track, and I recently, I mean, I discovered it last year, and I've sort of listened to it now and again, and I'm going to play it now, and a lot of people out there may have heard it, but some probably haven't as well. So this is a track called Bohannon by Fat Freddy's Drop. Right, not a bad track, eh? That's Bohannon by Freddy's Drop radio edit. It goes on a bit longer than that. It goes for about 7 minutes 20 all up, but that was the 5 minute 20 radio edit, courtesy of myself. Yeah, and that was off their album. I don't know what it's called. It's got a bird on it, blackbird. Yeah, check it out if you want. Yeah, so one thing I did notice in the last week is that touring comics and musicians are going to be starting up again in this sort of the post-COVID renaissance, which we're now experiencing the very beginnings of. And Bill Bailey, who's a very funny and talented man, is actually going to be in New Zealand on the, I think, around the 13th and 14th of March. So yeah, that's something worth chucking in your diary if you want to be entertained. Go check him out. I'm sure the tickets they're probably already gone. Everyone has been starved of such things for so long that yeah, they'll just get lapped up. Yeah, so what else has been happening in the Wairarapa this week? We've had I've actually got a new gig doing some football coaching, which is going to be good, seeing as I'm not going to be playing for probably the entire year due to my snapped Achilles. I'm going to be taking on the role of coaching the Kuranui First 11 football team, which I'm pretty amped about. Should be cool. Going to, I've got a particular philosophy I'm sort of trying to work with in terms of football, and yeah, over the years I have coached other teams, and I found that it's quite a rewarding and interesting thing to do, just with the possibilities that are around it. And I think it'll be good to be able to help these young guys develop their skills and their knowledge of the game in order for them to try and achieve some goals this season and into the next seasons, and further on into their, if any of them are sort of really serious about playing football into the future, then maybe they can go a long way. And that's sort of something that I'd like to hopefully play a part in. Yeah, so I've got some more music to play. I'm going for a bit of an electronic feel for this show this week. Normally it's a little bit more eclectic, and maybe I might just play something completely random soon, but in the meantime I've got another good track that I found last night, sort of having a look around, and I quite liked it. It's another one with some really interesting sounds, and yeah, pretty cool. It's by an artist called Rosa Terenzi. I'm not sure where she's from or who she is or anything about her, actually, and she's teaming up with another artist called DJ Zozi on this particular track. And yeah, I quite like the track, and I mean, hopefully someone out there enjoys it as well. And yeah, look them up. Rosa Terenzi is and DJ Zozi, but it's off Rosa Terenzi's album, I think, or EP, and it's called My Reality Check Bounced. I think it's sort of, I mean, I don't know what you describe this sort of music as. Is it sort of like I mean, yeah, there's so many different genres now. It's like maybe, what is it, some sort of housey sort of trip something or other. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it electronica. Yeah, here it is. My Reality Check Bounced. How's that? Good, eh? I like it. My reality check bounced. Yeah, good tune. Yeah, it's a bit of a dancer, that one. Eh? I like a bit of a dance myself. Used to do a lot more dancing to electronic music before I lived in Carterton. There's not much of a nightclub scene around these parts, unfortunately. But yeah, when we lived in Melbourne, I'd get out to the to a particular club actually in Brunswick called My Eon, and it was a bit more. It's sort of spruced itself up, maybe a little bit too much in the last few years. It's a bit more of a venue now. But I mean, a few years ago when me and my dear friend Carl Jensen and our other good mate Dave G, we'd pop down there for a bit of a boogie, and Emma Jane would come along as well, and yeah, good times. And it was a bit of a weird little place. Like, you wouldn't even know it was there. Those in those earlier years when we went there, it was sort of like a door on the side of the road, and sometimes it would have someone standing outside, and sometimes it wouldn't. So if you sort of were driving or walking past, you wouldn't even know of what was going on inside. It was quite well soundproofed, and yeah, it was a hell of a spot actually, and generally had pretty good DJs and a good scene going on inside. But yeah, I like that track. It's sort of a good one. It sort of has a different feel to the second half, which I think is probably the DJ coming in, DJ Zozy. I mean, they're both DJs obviously, but Rosa Terenzi, I think, did the first half of that track, and then I assume that DJ Zozy did the second half, because they're sort of reasonably distinct, but then sort of having the background sort of continuous. But yeah, good track. Yeah, so what about the Suez Canal, eh? Goodness gracious, what's going on over there? So yeah, if anyone doesn't know, it's big news at the moment. There's about 200 tankers backed up, waiting to go through the Suez, thanks to a particular tanker that is suspected was just overladen with containers, and maybe, you know, some wind gusts had something to do with it, but it sort of ended up going a bit sideways, wedging itself in there, and now there's sort of a bit of a logistical nightmare of trying to get the thing out of there. And yeah, I'm just saying, if you're listening, President of Egypt, I can help you out with that, and all it's going to take is I think we could get a few tanks on the sides of the canal and just blow that thing out of the water. It seems like the quick solution to me. I mean, what use is our military technology if we can't blow something like a container ship up to get it out of the way? You know, it wouldn't take much. A few bombs here and there. Maybe, you know, I mean, people are going to lose a bit of stuff in the containers, obviously. But then again, I mean, if you just blew the bottom out of the ship, then the containers would sort of just fall down, and you could pick them up with helicopters or something, you know, or cranes. Problem solved. And apparently, at the moment, it's going to take them a lot longer than they were. I mean, yeah, it's looking like a bit of an ongoing problem, and apparently it's costing heaps of money. So I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Just blow it up. Yeah, so I've got some more music. And I'm going to stick with the electronic theme. And this is a track that I found by someone called Octa. And yeah, this is a pretty cool one. It's quite long, so I might just I'll do a radio edit, because that last track was sort of reasonably long. It was a good 6 minutes 30, which is good. You want to track that. I mean, I don't know. We're going back, you know, I did hear something, what was I reading or listening to something last year talking about how when music first went out on the airwaves, in the sort of first major musical revolution, the formula was tracks that were around 3 minutes long. And yeah, no one really bucked that for many years until certain artists came along and were like, hey, you know what, I'm going to make a 4-minute track. And then someone else was like, well, you know what, I'm going to go one better and do a 5-minute track. And then someone like, I don't know, What's a good example of someone who made really, really excessively long-winded tracks? Pink Floyd, they would come along and be like, well, you know what, we're going to make one that's like 25 minutes long. I don't know if I'm pretty sure they did one that was that long, didn't they? Something like that anyway. And, yeah, pretty unnecessary really, Roger and co. But in the meantime, we're going to play something here. It's called Find Your Way Home by what is it? Yeah, Octo Octa. Another artist I found this week, which I quite enjoyed the track. Check it out. Find Your Way Home, Octo Octa. Yeah, so that was Find Your Way Home, Octa Octa. That was the radio edit, because that track is actually 8 minutes and 17 seconds long, and I edited it at 3 minutes and 39 seconds because I'm harking back to the golden age of music radio when all the tracks were 3 minutes. And that's where we are, folks. We're in the 1960s. So, yeah, I'm going to take this chance now, and I'm going to read you a poem that I wrote earlier this year that I'm quite proud of. Maybe even been last year. And it's called Grapefruit. So here it is, grapefruit. Do they call grapefruit grapefruit because it's great? No, it's not grapefruit, it's grapefruit. Grapefruit? It's nothing like a grape. Why is it called grapefruit? It should be called grapefruit because it's great. That's a cracking poem, isn't it? I'm pretty proud of it myself. The other thing I was going to say was this wouldn't be the Ill Behaviour show without a bit of a moan about the government. So we'll just get into that now and say, National Labour. I mean, come on, guys. Haven't we all had enough of these two parties? I mean, realistically. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there and you love your National Party or you love your Labour Party and you're just like, well, I've been a Labour voter for all my life and my parents were Labour voters before me. And then, and there's people who say that about National as well. And then there's me and some other people I know and we say, guys, it's not working. They're not doing a good job and they haven't been for, for a very long time, actually. And then, one of them gets in and then the other one's undermining the other one and then the other one's getting a bit snappy and they're all getting paid more and more money every year. They give themselves a raise and they give themselves some nice new BMWs to get around in and they get free flights and they get free food and they get free accommodation and they get a lot of stuff, actually, and they don't deliver that much on all of the stuff that they get. And I think it's time that we, as a country, started to go, hang about National, hang about Labour. We're not just going to blindly vote for red and blue, for colours and ideologies that don't even actually add up to what the parties deliver anymore. Why don't we start having a bit more of an examination of some of the smaller parties and saying, well, yeah, I think that party actually represents more of what I'm about. And I mean, in that respect, I've got a dear friend from high school, Scott Dennison. He's an ex-voter, and I don't blame him. He's like, yeah, that party, I believe in what they're about, and I say, yeah, good on you, mate. At least you've examined the situation and decided that that's where you want to go, and instead of being one of these sort of dandelions in the field who sort of waver with National or Labour constantly over decades. And I mean, yeah, I've voted for Top in the last two elections, the Opportunities Party, and people, my friend Smitty, he says, Illya, that's a wasted vote. You should have voted Green. And I say, no, I don't really like the Greens, mate. I like some of what they're about, but they're not a party that I would align myself with. And so I'm going to continue to vote the Opportunities Party. And, all I'm really saying is that when it comes to the next election, people, I urge you just to have a little bit more of a think about it and realise that you don't have to vote for red or blue. These parties are responsible for the situation we find ourselves in today with this ridiculous housing price crisis, because both governments let it get to the situation where it is today. Both of them were inept and not looking at the long term, even though they were warned on many occasions by many different people about the long-term implications of housing policy and decisions they were making around these things would lead to the current situation. They just were just like, oh, no, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. We've got a rock star economy. And Labour before that were like, no, it's all right. The Business Roundtable love us, We're all about the people. We'll just, we'll tweak the welfare system a little bit and make it look like we're still left wing and get the Business Roundtable on board. And, and that's how we're going to run things. And, not a big fan of those parties, either of them, Labour and National. As far as I'm concerned, they're doing a poor job. So we're going to play another track now, and this one's dedicated to people out there who are searching for political answers and not finding them from me, or not finding them on a Saturday morning at 10:48. And Indira should be in here soon to do her little update on Kuranui college life and what's going on in her world. And but in the meantime, I'm going to play this track. It's called Shadow, and it's by an artist called Baby. And yeah, it's quite good. Another one with going down that sort of electric avenue, perhaps. Here it is.
I'll be with you when the sky turns grey from blue. I'm slipped into you when the clouds take over you. You're sure to follow me. You're a mirror shining back at me. I know it will trickle down the sea. And I think that's all you will be.
Yeah, so that was Baby with Shadow. Good track, that one. So Indira's in the house now, and she is on Mike C. There you are, mate. Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, what's happening?
So, it's Saturday and it's been school, and I'm actually doing some Shakespeare. We got our first,
No yawning on the mic, mate. No, just kidding.
semi-performance on Monday, so I think that's just for parents, and it's like a practice run or something. And then we have our actual performance at Waiko, I think it is. I'm actually not sure. And then if we win that one, we'll go to Wellington, I think.
Oh yeah,
and
cool.
We'll perform in the Capital E.
Oh, that's cool, mate. So when's the Shakespeare? When's your... so one performance is coming up this Monday, right?
Yep.
And that's at the school.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it's the Waiko one. And that's sort of like a competition type thing. And they have judges and so on.
Yeah.
And then the main one is at like the regional competition in Wellington.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right.
And then there's another one after that, I'm pretty sure. I don't actually know.
And what part are you playing in the Shakespeare?
I'm just an extra.
Yeah.
I am meant to be like a boy for when this lady is like choosing who she's gonna marry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You seem pretty tired, mate. Maybe you should have got a better sleep last night because you're yawning a lot. Maybe they're nervous yawns.
No.
What were you going to tell us about podcasts?
Oh, I'm interested in like lots of scary podcast type things.
Yeah.
So I just finished this really cool podcast called Shadow Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
And the Shadow Diaries, I got introduced from it from my other podcast, Something Scary. So Shadow Diaries is like a thrilling podcast, uncovers the terrifying reality behind this pop star, and she was in this like group thing, and it's very dark and there's slaughter and screaming, but it's actually really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a reporter who ended up, she was such a fan of this pop star, and she finally went on tour with her, and all these crazy things happened. And then I have the Something Scary podcast, so there's just heaps of myths and legends and horror stories, and I've still got a lot to go.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for something thrilling, maybe suggest not listen to it before you go to bed, but
Oh, yeah, it's a little bit scary, isn't it?
yeah, but it's cool.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, yeah, there's some podcasts out there if you're into listening to a podcast. When I talk about podcasts, I always recommend people check out radio. Oh my God, what the hell is it called again? It's one of my favourite podcasts I've listened to over the years. Radiolab, from WNYC Studios. Really well made podcast. Really quite interesting, quite short ones. Or of course, there's always several other podcasts that are worth a listen. Commode on Film, he's a good one. Bill Burr, Joe Rogan has good guests occasionally. I don't really get into the fighting podcasts that he does, but something a little bit different as well as The Portal with Eric Weinstein. I quite like that one sometimes. Did you have a song that you wanted to play today, mate?
Yes.
Okay, what was that?
Sandstorm.
Oh, Sandstorm. All right, classic. All right, we'll rip into a bit of Sandstorm, and it is in keeping with the electronic theme. Might give some people a bit of a psychedelic flashback to the 90s, maybe, on their Saturday morning. And here it is. It's at Indira's request. We're playing Sandstorm by Darude. Apparently, when Darude did originally release this song, he actually had no idea of how huge it would become, and it sort of took him completely by surprise, which is always a funny little thing for an artist. And yeah, where are they now? I wonder what Darude is up to. Probably just chilling with his bank. And here he is. Radio edit that, so it's fading out now, and I'm going to play one more track that I recently found. It's called Stingray Shuffle. It's by an artist called Jubilee, and here it is. This is the signing off for this week. Thanks for listening, everyone, and have an excellent Saturday. Thanks for listening, everyone. That's all Behaviour for Saturday the 26th of March. Have a good one. See ya.
It's just yourself that you've been kidding in. I got one last thing to say, yeah. I think you're dumb, da-da-da-da. Thinking maybe I don't know what's going on. I think you're dumb, da-da-da-da. Yeah, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. So you can go ahead and lie, 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 lie. I'm over it, yeah. I'm saying bye, bye, bye. I don't even need to know why. Seeing right through, there's something wrong with you. I think you're dumb, da-da-da-da. Yeah, Thinking maybe I don't know what's going on. I think you're dumb, da-da-da.